Alright, welcome back to the channel, guys. This is another personal replay review about the 705A tank that I recently got on their most recent free XP sale. I converted a bunch of leftover gold that I had from the Christmas boxes to actually get this thing, and in the few games that I've played it, I've actually played it pretty solid. I believe at the time of recording, I was averaging roughly 4 point, I think 4.1, roughly, which is higher than my 279, funnily enough. But let's go over what this tank makes this tank so good. One, armor. When you're side scraping at this angle, obviously hiding the lower plate, you are nearly impossible to pen if you're not an E3 or a tank destroyer with high pen AP or HE. The only way you can really pen it if it's fully held down is uh, turret cheeks. That's pretty much it. What also makes it alright is the 750 alpha gun that it has makes it ideal for trading and slapping other tanks around on the head front. There is something to be desired in that the AP or the heat pen is only 317, so you'll struggle to sometimes go through, you know, E100 turrets, mouse turrets you won't struggle with too much, but stuff where you'll need that sort of high pen to guarantee it, like, you know, if you're face hugging an IS-7, spoilers, um, but it's it's good enough. It's not the 330 or even the 340, but it's all right. Now, the goal of a 705A driver is you always want to take your heavy tank to the heavy side because you don't really have the speed, maneuverability, anything else to really um, outflank people. You're there to make big boy heavy trades and stay hauled down and sort of laugh at people that you can't pin them. Kind of like what this IS-7 is doing. Now, when I'm on the map, or looking at the map, I see that they're at a mild disadvantage because the Super Conk and the T&H heavy tank, they're both out of the fight. So we have, at minimum, even if the Foch T95 and AMX show up, we're relatively even. And we have 2 tier 10s, they'd have 2 tier 10s. I feel like I could win that. The Foch might be a bit annoying to deal with, but yeah, see, the AMX gets spotted. I push up because, well, I have the option to, and the IS-7 isn't really giving me anything. So I want to see if there's something else that I can shoot at um, to get some sort of damage, and then T95 shows up. This was a bit unexpected for me, and he unfortunately has gold loaded, and I over-angled a bit too much, and he was able to get a shot through my track to both break the track and to damage the engine. But it is what it is. I try to get another shot on his cupola as he's leaving, but unfortunately it goes up. And then I see the 752 going in. And I think I'm not just going to let him die for nothing. He's going in. He wants to do something. So I'm going to take advantage of the fact that they're distracted by him. See if I get a shot on the lower plate. But no, I get a shot on the cupola of the T95. And unfortunately, the 752 dies. There wasn't really anything I could do there because he pushed into a crossfire, which you never want to do. And at this very moment, the T95 is a bigger threat because what the IS-7 has done so far is bounce off me with AP twice. There isn't really anything I should be too scared of him about if he's just going to keep shooting AP because I can easily bounce that AP unless I'm stupid. Um, However, the T95 is the bigger threat because, you know, T95s are relatively more annoying to deal with, and he could just drive at me and out-trade me for 750. Now, I see that the other AMX has died, and that T95 is distracted, so I have to drive in to pick up that kill and, you know, help my other 705A out. Pick up the kill, now it's a 2v1. My 705A does a nice shot on the back of the IS-7, and then the IS-7 chooses to face hug me, like I said earlier. It's very important when trying to face hug an IS-7 to get him to angle, or at least point towards somewhere else, because that makes his upper plate way easier to pen, like you just saw. Like, you saw it was a little bit green. And I believe that crit was his ammo rack. I'm not entirely sure, but I know the ammo rack is in the sort of upper, sort of pike nose of the IS-7. And you can see me here, I'm trying to angle, or I'm trying to face hug him at an angle to, what is it, so he has a harder shot, and him being distracted like that gets an easier shot. Now I'm staring at his gun, because I know he's loaded, and I know he's looking at the other 705A. I want to get my gun in there to, as you can kind of see now, block off his shot if he fires to just damage my gun instead of damaging my ally. Because I'd rather have a damaged gun than, you know, 400 less HP to deal with, and unfortunately he does get a shot off, which, whatever. Um, but me being at an angle and, you know, being heavier than him allows me to push him up onto a sort of rock. Uh, gets me a much easier shot on his lower plate and picks up the kill. Now, there are two options that I could do in this situation. One, I could drive all the way back to base, which isn't really too advantageous, go up on a hill and try and defend cap, which isn't the best because there isn't really anything that I can play because I don't have any gun depression, so I can't play the ridge here, and if I try and side script on this rock here, with some exceptions, obviously, I'd be an easier target to mid. And even crossing to that rock, I'd be an extremely easy target to mid because they just have my flat side, which is pretty easy to pen no matter who you are. Especially because they have, mediums that have half-decent accuracy, like the Lion and the Vickers 3. So I just think, screw it. I'm just going to push into base. And even then the other 705A tells me to fall back. I'm just going to push into their base and, force them to make a decision of fully push into my base or send some tanks back to push into, to kill me at their base. Or at least, put pressure on them so that they don't all consolidate and then push on the base because we're at a 7-9 disadvantage, 5k HP difference, which it most likely isn't actually 5k because we haven't seen the HP of the Foch and the S-Conk, and the game shows them as, full HP, which you can kind of see, at least with me by pressing Alt. They could be one-shots for all I know, but I just don't know. I see Artie puts a shot into me. His camo net does not work there. And of course his name is Artie Lives Matter. Ugh. Anyways, me being spotted there kind of makes me want to play a bit safer because anything that is in mid that would have been pushing through one line now knows that I'm here. So I kind of want to take his more advantageous sort of angle to face anything that drives at me. I'm kind of expecting one of the mediums, maybe two, to come back. And if it's the Lion, then I one-shot it. If it's the Vickers, then I hopefully two-shot it. And if it's the 430, then I guess. But I don't really want to drive across the B3, B4 area because it gives me easy shots to mid. And as you can see, the Vickers 3 appears here. Shoot him, track him. Unfortunately, I low roll, and he's shooting heat. Gets me on 407 HP. And now the 430U appears. Now, this looks like a pretty hopeless situation, and the Vickers lands another shot. This looks like a really bad spot. Not many people are really gonna survive this, let's say. Because Vickers 3, I have to high roll him to survive. And the 430U, if he has heat right now from this angle, he pens my lower plate. The only way I can really survive is one of them are really, really, really bad, or I get a lucky ammo rack or something like that. I see the 430U, I kind of sort of hope that he's shooting heat at angles so that if he were to fire, it'd be a tough spot for his heat shell to pen my lower plate, and if it were to hit my tracks eat heat shells all the time, he wouldn't have penned that. I see the Vickers 3 go for a final shot. Unfortunately, I low roll, and I think, well, that's it. He's firing heat. He's semi-competent because he's penned me twice. Granted, I give him easy angles, but... And then as he's about to fire, Artie comes in and unfortunately saves the day. Me no like Artie, simple as that. And now that's just me, then the 430U on 41 HP. I see that he's still shooting heat. And off of my instinct of him still shooting heat, I have to over-angle into him to bait him into shooting my tracks, because tracks eat heat shells all the time. And it is very hard for him to pen my track if he just continues to shoot heat. So I get an easy shot on him, he shoots my track again, because the angle that I'm giving him, at least that seems more advantageous to him, is to shoot my track. Because I'd technically be over-angling if he's shooting AP, but because he's shooting heat, I'm able to bounce it and, still live. Now, I see him back off, and that means one of two things. One, he's still going into mid, and him and the Lion are going to push into our base, and just leave me here alone, which, sure. The other thing that he could be doing is driving up here to the sort of B2, B3, and see Leo kind of also points it out. If he drives up to here, the reason I backed off is because I'd proxy him if he tries to, drive down on the hill, while also still holding here in case he was just gonna re-poke and then fly around the corner. And then I see him get proxied. He decides to send it off the hill, I guess. And my shot there, fortunately, manages to break his turret, and he doesn't have a repair kit. So he isn't able to get a good shot on, the top of my turret, the engine deck, the not angled at all upper plate. because I broke his turret, which is just pure dumb luck. And then rather than try to flank around me, he chooses to just face hug me, which, more power to him, I guess. I'm gonna win a face hug like that, and using the same sort of angling thing that I did before with the i7, able to pick up the kill. But again, um, the surviving of that 2v1 with 41 health against a high roll Vickers on a 1700 HP, 430 or 1700 HP 430, that wasn't skill. Or I could claim it was skill. All I want, that was just dumb luck. The dumb luck of the Artie killing the Vickers, the dumb luck of my shot breaking the 430U's turret so that he couldn't shoot me when he was above me, the dumb luck of the 430U not being the best player and just overly relying on heat shells, which is a lesson in itself of don't rely too much on gold, especially, well, if it's heat, don't rely on it too much, but if it's gold APCR, if you're not credit grinding or, don't want to shoot gold, you should be shooting a decent amount of gold APCR because there's literally no disadvantage compared to regular AP. Now, at this point, I'm thinking, one, the line's still at base, so he's not too much of a threat, and we managed to pick up the kill on him. Two, the Artie, at least in my mind, is at A7, A8, this little sort of cubby hole right here. And the only way I can really deal with him is if I proxy spot it, and if he's not facing me, I win, and if he's facing me, I just wait for a teammate to come, and I still win, unless he tries to push me. Now, the Artie makes a big mistake here, and he's choosing to drive into A9, this little area that has a bunch of ridges, divots, so on and so forth. This is not good for an Artie player if they're trying to shotgun, because Arties don't have any gun depression. And if he's choosing to prop himself up on a hill, yeah, he'll get more range if he's trying to cross map somebody, as Arties do. But if somebody's driving at him, he can't really shotgun them. So I'm sort of going off of that of he might be propped up on a ridge, and if he isn't, well, we should still win the game anyways. So I slow peek around this corner, and look at that. He's on a ridge. I mean, initially I thought he was just going to drown himself, but he's on a ridge, and when he looks at me here, he doesn't have a good shot. All he can shoot, like, is this area behind me, or, like, this on top of the hill right here, because Arties don't have gun depression, and their shell arc isn't that steep. So he realizes his mistake, tries to drive forward, and I pick up the kill. 7.3k damage, 5 kills. And yeah, let's go look at the end plates. And just to let you guys know, all of the replays that I feature in all of my videos are, at the moment, personal. And I have them all uploaded to Watt Replays if you want to check it out for yourself. But yeah, 7.3k, 5 kills, high caliber, steel wall, Spartan, killed both SPGs, etc., and a mastery, which is not too common, I guess, in tier 9 games especially, but I guess most of my damage was against tier 10s. Yeah, 7.3k, 1300 base XP, the Foch had a decent game, the Superconk had a decent game, the Vickers also had a decent game. Yeah, and of course, detailed report if any of you care about that. I only lost 4k credits because, filthy gold spammer, all that good stuff. But yeah, that's gonna do it. If you guys have any questions about, my thought process, how I played that game, how I played other games, how to improve, etc., feel free to comment below. Do all the funny like, comment, subscribe, YouTube stuff. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.